Aaron, I can't explain what it means for you to have us here, so thank you very much.
You're very welcome. It looks like you've traveled far.
We have, and let's address that right away. Obviously.
Let's get the elephant out here.
That's right. It's game day, and what better game to be played on the day that I interview than the Jets against Nashville Predators.
That is unbelievable. I should have worn my Preds jersey to the interview.
You could have done it. It could have gotten awkward at times.
It would have. Fist fights.
What made you decide, obviously now you live in Nashville, but what made you decide to cheer for them?
When I first moved, I just found myself going to a lot of games because I was like the Canadian guy among my friends, and so basically it just ended up, they're like, hey, can you come to the game so you can explain to us what hockey is?
I like it. That's good.
So then I started going, and I just kind of, like most things in Nashville, you just kind of end up falling in love with it, and I've followed them now for 10 years, and I'm just a big Preds fan, so yeah.
So you think you'll do the national anthem one day?
I hope so, that would be really nice of them. You could at least do the Canadian one.
That'd be cool.
I know that one really.
By heart.
Yeah, exactly.
Even with the new lyrics?
No.
Yeah, I know, right? It throws me off every time. I'm still not.
That actually makes me scared to do the national anthem now because I don't want to mess it up.
You need a teleprompter.
I've been singing it the same way for 30 years, so
why
really
change something that's good?
Yeah,
anyway,
really
that starts a whole new battle.
it's not going there.
No, not at all. I want to go back to where you first started. A lot of people don't realize that you were actually a songwriter first and foremost.
Yeah, I've been in this business, I feel now, for like about 20 years, even though I'm only 33. But I started singing when I was 12, and started playing like shows when I was like 13, 14, and started doing like karaoke competitions and stuff like that. And my mom was always like, I was like this little ADD kid, so my mom was always trying to find something I was like really interested in. And I started singing. My family loved to sing. We all played guitars around the campfire, and so I kind of came, by country music, pretty honestly. And as I started to continue to play and started to do things, I found out that I had this knack for writing songs. I probably did it for girls when I was younger. I think that was probably the only reason I did anything. It kind of turned into something. I ended up just writing songs and really liking it. And when I started making trips to Nashville, I'd come back with a handful of songs, and I'd play them for people and be like, "Wow, those are great!" And so I just kept making trips. And then when I finally moved there, I was there for 2 years before anything really happened. And I just wrote songs with people that I liked. And I was actually about to pack it in 1 year before Christmas, and then I got a Luke Bryan cut, so that kind of changed it all.
Yeah, how do you even react to that? I mean, obviously, if you're a country music lover, you know who Luke Bryan is.
Yeah.
And then he decides to pick up one of your songs.
Yeah, Luke was so hot around that time, and it was crazy. It was one of those things where he had put I was writing songs with Cole Swindell and Adam Sanders, and he had put one of our songs on hold before and never cut it. And so when Out Like That came along, and it was kind of like this tempo positive thing, and Luke was kind of loving everything that Cole was turning in and writing, and they grew up together like they're buddies. So you don't expect to ever get a cut. We just liked writing songs, and we finally wrote like an up tempo happy song. All the other songs were like just like heartbreakers, but we finally kind of wrote one of those. And then Luke, that was I remember getting a text from Cole. He's like, "Luke just cut our song," and I was like, "What?" Like, I was leaving this dang town. And so it was a huge turning point for me. And I know musically it's not like 100% like what I've always liked to do, or that song or an example of that, but it just goes to show you you surround yourself with people that you like to hang out with and you like to live life with. And it was incredible. I had a migraine on the couch, and I didn't have a migraine after he texted me. I was like jumping in the air, and I was like, "Holy crap!" So it was really cool, and it changed my life. It put me on a whole new path. So.
And when it comes to the country scene, it is very tight-knit. It is about people you grew up with. You also helped write one of Aaron Pritchett's songs, when a mommy's boy meets a daddy's girl. What got you into that song with Aaron?
It's a crazy. Songwriting's just a funny thing. I wrote that song with two fellow Canadians, and it was an afternoon session. I'd never written with either of them. They were trying to get in the room with me. This is like one of those situations where I've just been in town writing songs at Warner Chapel for 3-4 straight years, and just had I just had a writing room at Warner Chapel, and they came over, and I was like, yeah, I got time today, you know, and they were like, cool, and they showed up, and for whatever reason, like they showed up, and he went through Stephen Lawrence went through a couple titles that he had, and he had this one title. They said, I got this title, When a Mama's Boy Meets a Daddy's Girl, and I was like, how does that even happen? I mean, and for me as a writer, like that's the kind of stuff that I go, thank you, you know, like because I feel like I've been writing songs for a long time, and what ends up happening is you just kind of run low on great titles or great ideas for songs, and but he walked in with that, and I was like, oh, let's do that. So, you know, I think we wrote the song in a couple hours, and then I tweaked on it forever. I was in that kind of point where I was like not trusting my writing at all. You know, I think I had a few cuts right out the gate, and like 5 cuts out of the gate when I signed at Warner Chapel, and then all of a sudden had like nothing, you know. So it was like one of those things where like, am I doing something wrong, or you know? So I was always like, everything I wrote, I was moving around, and finally I kept sending it to my co-writers, and they're like, this is it, it's done, just leave it, go down with it, it's good. So you know, you either run out of time or money in this business. So luckily, and then Aaron heard it. We played it for Aaron, and he loved it, and he's like, this is gonna be a single, and he wanted to do this amazing video that he did for it, and yeah, it just turned out to be a big hit. It was amazing. So.
Did you help him at all with his new album?
I did. I have one song on the new one too, as well. Like, I can't thank Aaron enough for like continuing to kind of just believe in my writing. It's amazing when you find artists that, you know, like what you do and want to do it. There's nothing better than that in this whole business. It's like the most validating thing I think ever when somebody goes, that's my song. And you know, and I write a lot of songs, so it's awesome to have that. And Aaron's been really great to me. There's the song on this record. It's called "Drink Along Song" that just came out, so it's really cool.
Cool.
Hopefully it'll be a single. Hopefully.
I'm sure it will be. So you do all this songwriting. You're doing it for other people, which to me is really hard because I don't know that I'd be able to put my feelings on paper and then give it to somebody else to sing. So what was the turning point for you that was like, well, hang on, why am I giving all this away? Why don't I do it for myself?
Yeah, well, I mean, for me, I was always a performer, and I always felt like, and I still feel like what I do as an artist, not a lot of other people do. Like, I think for the longest time, when I wrote, I've always written songs like for myself, so I write them, and because I know that if I relate to them, other people might relate to them. You know, it's kind of like you write something and people like other people are like, I feel that too, you know, and that's kind of the main thing. But I think I know for me, like I like to be really rangy, and that's a tough thing for other artists sometimes to be like, just sing way down here and then go way up there. But that's always how I wrote and sang. So so it's actually kind of gotten me into trouble with getting people to record my songs, you know, because it was like nobody wanted to sing that, nobody could, you know, or couldn't, or whatever the situation was. So. And
you have such a unique voice, so to put that. Yeah. To your words makes sense.
Yeah, and I think you know, so, and that's why it's so good. Like I found that like sometimes I have to like when I do quote unquote write for other people, which I don't really do. Like a lot of writers do it. I feel like I'm more like I can only write the best song in the room, and I will write the best song in the room for the song, not for the artist. And that's, some people think that's the right way, and some people think that's the wrong way. That's just the way I like to do it, and it's worked really, really well for my career, and that's ultimately like what all of this was for. And I think the songwriting has led me and broke me into the business, and was my way to get in. And so I don't take songwriting for granted, but you know, you're here at a show tonight, so you'll see like what I really love to do. This is like my bread and butter. I don't think I could even continue to just write songs like without playing them on stage. So.
And this one sold out, which says huge things.
So cool. It's so awesome. I'll never get enough of that. Like, I think selling out a show, I mean, I've had a couple of them in my career, I think. Most of them really close to my hometown. But it's really cool when you start getting sellout shows when you're not like directly in like Edmonton or you know, or northern Alberta, you know.
Members, yeah.
It's not all family, yeah, exactly. So it's amazing, and it goes to show you that I just think like if if you make great music and you put your life and heart into it, and that like how much support there is, and I don't think there's any better fans in country music than Canadian fans. So it's amazing, and I thank everyone who comes to the shows and buys the records and buys the tickets to the shows and buys them for Christmas presents, and keep doing that and we'll keep making the music. So.
I love it. So Woman in Love was what pretty much got you on the scene for your own music on the radio. Oddly enough, it's not necessarily what broke you in, what really got you out there. Did you ever think that a song about beating on your lonely drum would be the one to make you big?
No, I don't think any artist plans for a song like that. I think, and it's one of those new things. We've got a brand new record coming out, and we have like a newer version of Lonely Drum. We've basically teamed up with a label in the States, and they still want to put that song out in the States. I think they recognize that it's such a big song. But Lonely Drums, that was the second song we wrote that day. We were all in a goofy mood, and my co-writer, we wrote this like gut-wrenching ballad, and that was called Trying to Forget You, and my co-writer was like, I love this song because it just beats on that lonely drum. And I was like, what'd you say? It just beats on the lonely drum. I was like, I want to write that. And so as a joke, I started saying like, I'm beating on my lonely drum, girl, don't you want to come over? And then Skip was over there, and he's like, oh, I got this. And he built this like drum track to it. And we just we probably wrote it in 45 minutes. And you just don't plan those songs, and they just kind of fall out. But I still knew that it was very, very special. And when I played it for people, they were like, God, that is so good. Like, so good. And it's so awesome, and like you don't plan for that. Those are kind of those magical moments that, sometimes you just get lucky and one falls in your lap like that. So it's pretty awesome.
Did you have anyone that was like, oh my goodness, you can't release that? Like, you're going to offend somebody?
Yeah, honestly, like that, it took us 4 years to get that song out from the day we wrote it. So because of that, it was very, people thought it was very controversial. People thought it was, and there was other artists that were like, this is great, but I can't sing that, and I never ever saw the issue with it. I never once in my head was I like, oh, that means something else, and I get questions all the time about it, and I'm like, I'll tell you the story. Like, I literally have a lot of experience with girls not coming over, and it's more like a twiddling your thumbs song is all it really is. Like, is she ever gonna come over? Or, I don't know. I think she's lying to me or whatever. And I think so. So for me, like, that song was just always just meant to be fun. It was, and it obviously is, and it's touched a lot of people, and kids love it, and grandparents love it, and people of all ages, and it just kind of breaks all those barriers. So it's awesome.
I love that you did it, and it's hilarious because when I heard it time and time again, call me naive to what most people would think, but I didn't think of that at all. Yeah. And then I was listening to it at work one day. I was playing it, and this girl was like, you know what that song's about?
Yeah.
And I was like, playing music alone? And she was like, no, listen to the lyrics again. And I did, and I was like, you know what? That just made the song even better. There's
the one of the craziest I guess you could call it a compliment, but one of the craziest things was, like, I was sitting with a radio programmer on the West Coast, and he was like, he said, and they played the song more than any other station, and got behind it so much. And one of the reasons they did was because somebody called in and said, you know what that song's about, and the radio guy was like, well, I don't know what you think it's about or whatever, but go ahead and tell me. So he told him. I'm sure everybody knows what we're talking about. And so he told him, and he said, but you know what? That all being said, it doesn't make me want to tell you to stop playing it.
Exactly.
And I think that's the coolest thing about it. And a lot of people said it was the song of their summer, and yeah, that's just awesome. So
I think it's also nice that there's no boundary there.
Yeah.
People can think what they want about what it means, but it's all, at the end of the day, it's a good, fun song.
Yeah, and that's all it's meant for. It's just meant to be a fun song that people can dance to, and I've gotten thousands of videos of kids dancing to that. It's amazing. They don't know what it's about or care what it's about, and that's how I grew up when I fell in love with Dust in the Bottle. It's no different. It's like, well, I got to hear that again and again and again, and I never want to stop. So it's amazing when you write a song like that, but it's hard for me to take all the credit. I have a lot of people that support me, and a lot of people that I write with, and you know, it's all of us put together, and we're all meant to be on this earth and have fun and sing along and do that.
Now, to say that I have a favorite on your self-titled album would be completely wrong, because I absolutely love the entire album. I can't say how much I love it. It's just so good.
It's amazing.
I'm expecting the same, if not more, from V.
Good.
How did you come up?
I hope you're right. I hope you're right.
How did you come up with the title?
You know what? My wife's name's Victoria, and that's basically, you know, that was the number one thing. And we had a bunch of different, like, we went through all the there wasn't really a song on the record that like stood out as the title. And so as we went through it, you know, one common thing that we could find was that, you know, and the one common thing that I always find is like there's songs from my relationship with my wife, and it's a relationship that I do my best not to take for granted, just because I know that without her I wouldn't be doing any of this, and I wouldn't be chasing my dreams to the you know, the absolute, you know, furthest they could possibly go, and she's just really allowed me to do what I want to do and love what I do, and so it's an amazing thing when you find a partner. Like I wouldn't be anywhere without her. So we were all bouncing around ideas, and we're like, and then we had this other idea just kind of in the back of our heads that was we're kind of embarking on the U.S. and worldwide, and I think you know, now that it's not just Canada where I'm from, which I had a base in Canada, you know, people had heard my name before, and they heard that I wrote these songs, and they heard that, you know, so they knew it was Goodvin. And in the U.S. we're still fighting that, you know, and so I think, so we're like, what if we called the album V with that in mind as well, like it's a V, not a W, you know, because most people are going to go, oh, Aaron Goodvin, and, you know, even Shania called me Aaron Goodwin on the CCMA, so, yeah.
Which is kind of like, you're like, oh my God, Shania messed up my name. Right?
Yeah, totally, totally. So it's funny, but at the same time, it's like, it's amazing because, you know, it's just another way we can kind of show people, like, this is what the album's called, and my name's Goodvin, and my wife and I have been together for 5 years. So the Roman numeral for 5 is V. So there's a bunch of different little things, but awesome. Yeah, so it just seemed to be the right thing to do. So,
is there a favorite song of yours on this album?
Oh man, I don't record anything that I don't love in a different way or some way, and there's a few songs on there. One that's been will be my first single in the States, called Bars and Churches, and I played it across Canada on the Gord tour. I played it. I'll play it tonight. It's just a very special song, and but there's songs that rock on there, and this album's a little bit more like up tempo, I feel, which is a hard thing for me. You know, I'll sit there and play ballads all day, so it's I just really like heartfelt stuff, but it's really cool because it's tempo, but it's also still real. And like one of the things that I want my music to do is just be real for people. I want it to be a place they can go to just hear about, you know, real life truth and the way things really are, and I think that's a little bit of what's missing in country music, when I was listening to music growing up in the '90s, country, that's all it was, you know. It was real. It was like, you know, you felt like you could listen to a record and really get to know somebody, and so that was kind of our goal with this one, and we wanted to keep the same thing and keep the same thing that made us successful, you know, which is just great music. You know, we just tried to make the best music that we can make, and we had a producer switch for this record, so and I think we upped the level on it, so it's really exciting. So, and
being real pretty much describes you. From your music to your personality. We wouldn't be here doing the interview with you if you weren't that type of person. You say what you're going to do and you follow through with it, which is huge. I mean, I think that's just being human, and I think it's just trying to be the best human I can possibly be, and you know, not just for everybody else, but for myself. You know, it's you know, we all live and die by what we say and what we do, and so I just try to keep it real everywhere I go, and I just love to have fun, and I love, you know, we only get to live this life once, and so we're gonna do it up. You're doing a great job, and you do it with charities as well, which is awesome. Right now, you have a thing where people can go and vote where your money goes.
Yeah.
Can you tell them how
Thank
to
you
do
for bringing that up. Yeah. It's a campaign called A World for Good. They're a company that we teamed up with, and what I love about A World for Good is that it's not just about one charity. You know, I feel like there's so many great charities out there that are doing so much work, and this is really just about, you know, taking the focus off yourself for a second, and I'm guilty of it just as much as everybody is. But you know, I always joke around. It's like when my wife says, "Well, I'm just a little worried about what these people think of me." I said, "Well, if you knew what they were thinking, they're thinking about themselves." You know. So like this is all about just getting out there and just trying to do whatever you can do. It doesn't have to be. It doesn't even have to be $100. It's just, you know, on there we have T-shirts for sale that together we can make a world for good with my signature on them, and whatever you can buy that T-shirt, and the proceeds go to whatever charity that you choose. We have 5 different charities on there, and they're all like charities that are close to me and close to my heart, and you know, so we just try to do as much good, and we'll be switching them too. Like we'll switch a few in and out, and anytime we see anybody who's doing some great work in anywhere in the world, you know, we just want to raise awareness and raise the fact that, you know, if you have $1 in your pocket, you can give half of it away, and that's all we're asking, and you know, and we're not even asking that much sometimes. You know, it's just really like, you know, it's just trying to bring the world together a little bit.
So can people access that from your website as well?
I believe they can. If you don't see it on there, aworldforgood.com/Aaron Goodvin, you'll find the page and all the videos, and it just keeps you. And at the end of the year, I go through and do as much giving as I possibly can, and you know, whichever ones you vote for are the ones that get more money. So it's a really cool thing.
Cool. And then on your website, I'm guessing is where the pre-sale comes in for your album.
Yes, it comes out on the 25th. January 25th is the pre-sale, and also on Spotify, and then you can get the record February 15th.
And will that be in stores? Like I can actually hold it in my hand?
Well, I sure hope so. I feel like the world is fading away from that, but I'm still the 10-year-old kid that wants to go and read the liner notes.
Yes.
So.
And do you have a lyric booklet? Do you know? Yeah?
Yes, we do.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Just made my day.
You're all set.
Yeah, that's great. It's gonna go in my IKEA locker that's got all the CDs in it. Perfect.
That's great.
You have a whole bunch coming up. Like this is not the end of Aaron Goodvin. It's only the beginning. You are doing the show tonight. Mm-hmm. You've got new tour dates coming out that will be updated on your site.
Yes, yeah. We come back to Alberta in February. We have a bunch of shows, and there's a lot of amazing things in the works. We already have a bunch of shows for summer. You can go check those out. We're probably coming close to you, and if you don't see that we're coming close to you, we'll be there soon. I promise you. We've got lots of exciting things in the works.
So last time you were in Winnipeg, you made a joke about how you'd been there so many times, and your set keeps getting longer and longer. Yeah. We can expect a show from you this year?
Yes, awesome. There's going to be a show. It's going to be great, and it gets longer all the time. So, and that's the best thing about, you know, I thank country radio, because the more hits they give us, the longer we get to play, which we like. So. And
CCMA has really recognized you this year.
Yeah.
2019, they're saying you're the one to watch out for, which we already knew.
Yeah, that's amazing. You know, I love Canada. I love where I'm from, and I think being recognized here is the most. It's just incredible, and I have huge dreams. Like they're so big, but it's so amazing to know that Canada has my back, and like we've got 4 top 10 singles in a row, which is unbelievable. It's crazy, and so it's just great. We're just gonna keep bringing it. You know, where there's no slowing down with us, and my whole team and we're all geared up for the long haul. It is a really exciting time.
And you keep knocking it out of the park. You went platinum with Lonely Drum, and is doing amazing right now.
It really is. It's our 4th top 10, and I think it might be the biggest one we've got so far. Like we'll find out next week, but it's pretty exciting stuff. And you know, "You Are" is just a song that's just about real life, and just about, you know, how you know, guys are guys, you know, and girls are girls. It's just that simple. And you know, for anyone that says that their wife didn't save them from being a dumbass, then they're wrong.
Nice.
Yes.
I have one more question that I try to ask each of my guests. Yes. It's actually about your socks.
Oh.
I believe that socks tell a lot about a person, hence why I'm wearing 2 different Jet socks.
Oh, you are?
I am.
What do they say?
Shifley and Ehlers.
Oh, Shifley and Ehlers.
Yeah, you bet.
Shifley killed us in the playoffs last year.
That's what he does.
He's not my favorite guy.
I love him, and he'll do it again this year.
I hope he doesn't.
What type of socks are you wearing, Aaron?
They're sporty socks.
Okay.
You know what sucks is yesterday I took off my goofy socks. We spent.
You have goofy socks.
Oh, yeah.
I heard he's a
I usually
character.
wear him all the time. Yeah, he's my favorite. And we've gone to Disney World the last 2 years, and I always get a chance to say hi to Goofy and chat with him, so it's awesome. And but yesterday I was wearing his socks. Today I just have a boring pair. Actually, I don't even think they match. So there you go.
That's the best way to go.
Yeah, just like you.
So I made a phone call today.
Yeah.
To find out if there was any cartoon character that you loved or anything like that. Goofy was the answer. So I'm impressed that they knew that. They said that your face might be a bit of a blank stare when I did the next thing because they weren't positive on which is your favorite. But I got you this.
Oh no. Let's check it out.
I couldn't find any Goofy socks, so I went for what I thought would be the next best thing.
This is perfect. Okay. Superman's my favorite.
That's what
my second favorite.
Your wife knows you well.
She does. Did you call my wife?
I called. I called to get in touch with your wife.
Are these Spider-Man too?
Spider-Man, because you can't wear matching.
Because they don't match. I love it. This is amazing. I'm gonna wear these tonight.
Please do.
I will.
Awesome.
Underneath my boots,
yeah.
you can. It'll be great.
Perfect.
Be awesome.
Instagram a shot of them.
Yes, I will. I definitely will.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you, everybody.